I want to talk about medicine. Now, we all know K through 12, we all know higher education, and now they've taken over K through 12. We get that. But it's also taken over medicine. Critical race theory is destroying medicine in front of our eyes. It's already been infiltrated. Dr. Cohen, this is in the New England Journal of Medicine in 2019, racist like me, a call to self-reflection and action for white physicians. She literally starts out her article with, I am a racist. Right? Now, critical race theory, everything is about race, and then everything is interconnected with everything all the time. This is a doctor at UC San Francisco. In the US, blacks have higher deaths from heart disease. Okay, so that's it's a medical issue, right? You would too if traumatized by police violence. Oh, geez. This ongoing stress is killing black, brown, and indigenous people over centuries. It's time to decolonize, hashtag defund the police, right? You see how it's all connected, and it's all race. So instead of looking at cultural issues or medical issues, differences between different cultures and foods they eat, which would then lead to heart disease, or amount of exercise done, which would then lead to higher rates of heart disease. Instead of looking at that, it's, oh, no, we got to look at it through an intersectional racist lens. It's the police who are killing black people. And that's causing stress, that's right? See how that works? That's a critical consciousness. You got to look at everything through a racial lens. There have been cancellations in the medical field. Here's one story. Dr. Norman Wang, he was a doctor at Pittsburgh Medical Center. He's written in many, many journals over the years. I think it was 2018 and 2019, he had the two most downloaded medical papers that appeared in medical journals in the country. Right? So super prolific, quoted doctor in the medical field, right? In the journal from the American Heart Association, he agreed with a Supreme Court decision that affirmative action should end by 2028 and that we should instead accept medical students based on merit, not on race. Here is one thing he said. He said, long-term academic solutions and excellence should not be sacrificed for short-term demographic optics. Ultimately, all who aspire to a profession in medicine and cardiology must be assessed as individuals on the basis of their personal merits, not their racial and ethnic identities. Okay? That is like so common sense. I don't know who, you can pretend that you disagree with that, but when it comes down to it and you need heart surgery, who do you want? You want the best doctor? Or do you want, you with me? So he wrote that in this journal. One med school student with 14,000 followers on Twitter said, oh, here's this Dr. Wang who said black people are unfit to be doctors. Can you believe it? What a racist out there who doesn't think people of color are able to be doctors, which isn't what he said at all. But she tweeted that out to her followers. Then the director of diversity and inclusion at the Mayo Clinic took that person's tweet and piled on. All these complaints came in against the doctor. One of the complaints was he did not capitalize the letter B in black. So the medical journal took down his paper, and the University of Pittsburgh fired him from his position. And he's now suing them. Good. So the cancellations happen, just like we see in entertainment and everything else. Cancellations are happening even in the med field for common sense, basic statements like that. Okay, back to today. This is right after COVID. So remember the whole thing with doctors, like don't go anywhere, doctors and nurses, like don't go anywhere, stay inside, miss funerals, birthdays, graduations, school, sports, everything, right? And then Black Lives Matter protests hit and all these nurses are outside applauding and everything. So this is an open letter signed by hundreds of doctors. White supremacy is a lethal public health issue that predates and contributes to COVID-19. COVID-19 among black patients is yet another lethal manifestation of white supremacy. In addressing demonstrations against white supremacy, the Black Lives Matter protest, our first statement must be one of unwavering support for those who would dismantle, uproot, or reform racist institutions. Dismantle, that's what I talk about. Like they say dismantle, disrupt, and disturb. No, dismantle, disrupt, I always forget the third. Dismantle, disrupt, deconstruct. All right, those are the three Ds. Dismantle, disrupt, and deconstruct. I say destroy. That's all those three things really mean. Destroy what? Well, racist institutions. Racist institutions like what? Medicine. I could do this all day. Let me wrap it up. I'll give you just a bunch of examples here. Yale School of Medicine. All first-year med students have to take a course called Making the Invisible Visible: Art, Identities, and Hierarchies of Power. Because everything's through that lens of hierarchies of power. Berkeley has an Institute for Healing and Justice in Medicine and the Freedom School for Intersectional Medicine and Health Justice. Harvard Med School. Racism is inherent to every aspect of our lives. It's woven into the fabric of society. Therefore, the absence of conspicuous racist actions is not enough. We must be actively anti-racist. The CDC has a page called Health Equity, Racism, and Health. Blue Cross Blue Shield has a new anti-racism, health equity, diversity, inclusion, equity strategy. You with me? It's infiltrated med schools, it's infiltrated hospitals, it's infiltrated insurance companies. The wonderful Barry Weiss, she said, I always thought that if you lived through a revolution, it would be obvious to everyone. Right? How could you miss it? But it turns out that's not true. Revolutions can be bloodless, incremental, and subtle. And they don't require a strong man. They just require a sufficient number of well-positioned true believers and cowards. The woke takeover of medicine, it's literally life and death. And the woke are choosing woke over truth. And in the end, over life. Wow. That was deep and insightful. I want more of that. Like, subscribe, get more.